Hey family, it's a new week. It's Tasha, Mama Bear Prepping. Welcome to the channel. Welcome back to the channel. We're just going to jump right into it. We're going to talk about a few things, what's going on, some thoughts about obviously what's going on, food, and more items that you can that I think are important to get. So I have a list today of different foods that I think these are staples. These are bulk items or items that you could buy in bulk. They're staple items that if you have these things and these things only, there's several different renditions of meals you can do. A lot of this is basic stuff that just helps with any meal, right? Cooking any meal. And so hopefully this list will help anybody that's just trying to top off, trying to fill holes. And then we're just going to talk about a few other things that you can do as well. I think that the way things are going, you have more and more talk on the radio, on the news, on the internet, everywhere now about recession. You're hearing that word more and more and more. You're seeing more and more reports of emptier shelves that are empty, gas lines, no gas shortages. You're just continuing to see this. And right now, I think we're blessed with what I call a slow burn, right? Where it's a slow burn, it's not overnight, it's not panic and then boom. I think that we will get to that. And I think that when it gets to a point where stuff really is hard for people to get, a majority of people, a large group of people to get, that you will see panic. As soon as a larger area starts to seriously run out of food and that starts getting reported, that's going to cause panic. Okay. So I think now's the time. If you have any more in you, you got to keep pushing, keep getting the things that you need in your home. Okay. Now today I'm talking about this list of bulk items or staples to get in bulk, right? Buy your flats, your cases of this stuff, right? Buy your bulk of this and store it. Now, people, I know there's folks watching, like I can't afford a whole flat of canned meat, right? For example, that's fine. Start dwindling around down this list of things that you eat, right? Get you 1 can of meat, 1 payday. Whatever it is, dwindle this down. You don't have to get a flat. You don't have to get it in bulk, okay? But if you get these basics, these staples, you're going to have a lot of variety of different meals that you can make and that you can throw together quickly as well, okay? So let's get into it. And I want to make one point. I had a note here about COVID. So somebody made a comment somewhere. I was reading somewhere about somebody was talking about like starvation and what's about to happen, and people like, well, I don't think that's going to happen because what about COVID, right? When that happened, people kind of panicked, right? They cleaned out the stuff. Toilet paper was a big deal, but a lot of other stuff was a big deal. There was a lot of stores that their shelves did go bare. Where I lived in my bougie little town I lived in at the time, the shelves went bare, okay? And so, it was crazy, right? And what I want to make a point about is you were going to have people, we always talk about having people who don't buy food, right? And then something bad happens and then you literally have no food in your house. And so somebody made a comment like, well, what about all those people that weren't ready then? You know, there wasn't mass starvation. There wasn't mass folks dying off because they didn't have food or whatever. And I would say, you're right. I would say and venture that we don't talk about the ugly things that happen. And I promise you that there were families that were absolutely starving and hurting because they did not have food. But I also know that in that time period that was new, and we had people who were taking care of other people, right? I had friends coming to me, hey, Tasha, I need this. Do you have this? Do you have that? So that's my friends who make good, decent money that were coming to me asking. So what I would tell you is that one, that was not a long time period to survive, if you will. And so those folks adapted, went to their friends, maybe stayed at friends, maybe went to parents' house or other people's houses to get a meal. And people were willing to help and be there. It's different when something hardcore happens and the majority is affected and the majority can't get food. And the stores, that it's not a small cycle, right? It's not just, oh, I had to wait 2 weeks. There was no food, right? It came back and then they were fine. So those folks adapted and got food where they could get food. Okay. But what I'm talking about is folks that are conditioned like that, and then something hardcore happens for a long period of time. And then what do those people do? You will see mass starvation at this point, because there will be tons and tons of families that don't have the food. Okay. You will see a little bit of people coming together and helping each other. But the harder and the more hardcore it is, the less of that you're going to see. And that's just the reality of it, because people will start to realize, if there's nothing coming back, I now have to think about my own family. Yeah, do I want to help all these families? Absolutely, right? Maybe you've been helping other families, but then you get to the point where you can see the writing on the wall. You can see it's not coming back, and you've got to pull back now because you've got your own families to worry about. Okay, so let's get into this. These are staples, right? So rice, beans, pastas, potatoes, right? All your fillers. Those are, to me, those are your staple fillers. Those are your bottom. You cook it, you have that, and then you add stuff to it to make it into a meal, right? If you have one of those fillers, one of those basic beginners, to me, you're good to go. Okay, and get it any way you can. When I say rice, get the rice. Look at the back of the packaging. How much does that bag of rice feed? How much does it take to feed your family for one meal? Do the math and figure out exactly how many meals will you and your family get out of that bag of rice that you got. Okay, and then you start stacking it. You stack that rice once you know that number, and then you just start stacking it till you know you're at a number that you want. Okay, I want to do it until I have 3 months worth. I want to do it for 6 months, a year, whatever. Get that staple done, okay? Concentrate maybe on only one staple, or maybe you say, okay, I'm going to get a month of this staple, and then I'm going to move on to pasta, and then I'm going to move on to beans, or I'm going to move on. And with beans, it doesn't have to be dry beans. It's just that dry beans will last forever if they're not compromised. But you can get flats of beans, right? So get flats of canned beans. That's fine, okay? And get the beans that you eat. If your family doesn't, mess with beans, don't get beans, okay? Get a different staple. Potatoes, you can get potatoes in 1,000 different ways, right? But get those fillers. Stuff on here, canned meat, right? Canned vegetables, canned fruits. Anything in a can is going to last a long time, but a can is easy because, hey, you make a pot of rice, you throw in a can of stew or a can of Spam, whatever, maybe fry up an egg, and boom, you've got a fried rice, okay? Or whatever it is that you're cooking, okay? There's so many varieties of meals that you can make just from having canned options, canned meat, canned soups, all those different things that you can get your hands on. And of course, you want to get your canned vegetables, canned fruits, for when you can't get that stuff fresh anymore. You can't get it from the store anymore. How are you going to continue to have that in your diet? And so that's why it's very, very important to get that stuff. It's hard for some people too, because people that only eat fresh fruits and vegetables maybe will go ahead and get them frozen. But a lot of people are like, no, I only do fresh. I don't do frozen, and they sure as hell don't do canned, right? But you have to do that to be able to get those nutrients and still have that stuff in your guys' pantries. Getting stuff like your baking stuff, your flour, your baking powder, your baking soda, your sugar, your salt, all these things, yeast, right? Super important to, one, you should be learning how to make bread, how to make sandwich bread, how to make just a loaf of bread that you could easily break up to go with a stew, how to make basic rolls, how to make tortillas, right? So getting your cornmeal, different things like that, right? We're so used to being able to get all these bread products, and then if you go from, you can't get that anymore, you've got to have the basics to make bread. Bread is very easy. There's recipes out there for yeast, no yeast, right? So there's a lot of different variations of ways to make a bread, a roll, a biscuit, whatever it is that you're trying to make, right? But you've got to practice doing that stuff, and you've got to prep those basics. I seen a video on TikTok this morning, and the guy was like, stitch this, and I might even stitch it. I never did a TikTok stitch in my life, you guys. This woman is old, okay? I barely can even do the videos on TikTok. It takes everything in my being to do a TikTok video. But he was like, stitch this. And this man, he was panning over the aisle, the flour aisle, the aisle that had flour and sugar and baking soda. And he was panning over, and he was like, I know that I'm supposed to prep this stuff. So you could tell, obviously, he's new to prepping, whatever. He's like, I know I'm supposed to prep this stuff. He's like, but I have no idea why I'm prepping this stuff. What does this stuff do? What does it make? He had no clue. And he was like, be nice, stitch it, but be nice. And so I don't know, but maybe have my son help me figure out how to stitch it. But bless his heart, right? Like all the sweets and things that we like to eat, cookies and, cakes and delicious hot bread and biscuits and crepes and just all these delicious things that we like to eat come from that stuff. And that's why you prep that stuff, so that when you can't get it anymore, you can still make that stuff fresh, because you can't buy it fresh anymore, right? You making a pot of spaghetti, you have to be able to make your own garlic bread if that's something that you want to be able to still serve with your spaghetti. You're not going to be able to just go and get that loaf that's already buttered for you or already got garlic all on it. Those are the things you have to think through that you would be doing with your own hands. You would be doing. And if you don't prep the items that are needed for that, then you're just not going to have them. Can you survive without those things? Absolutely. But mentally, okay, changing the game too much is going to, first of all, physically for your body, when you're used to eating certain things and then you have to change, regardless, we're going to be changing. But there's a lot of things that we can do now and prep now so that those things don't have to change. Okay. If you're eating a lot of one pot meals, I plan to be able to make fresh bread every single day with those one pot meals. Okay. That is mental for my family to have hot, fresh bread every day. Okay. Kiddos want a sandwich, peanut butter and jelly sandwich or something. There's no fresh bread to be able to make some sandwich bread and they can still have that pleasure. Okay. Let's see. I talked a lot about, okay, so let's talk about stuff just for helping to cook with, right? So making sure you have your oils, you have your butter, if that's the case, you have your seasonings, right? You have your salt, pepper, and maybe one good seasoning. You don't have to go crazy. Just if you could only have one seasoning, get that seasoning, right? You don't have to have all of these different seasonings that you need. We're talking about just what are the basics to just survive. And one seasoning will take you all the day. Really, I just need some salt and pepper. Really, honestly, that's all I need. And then you can use fresh herbs from your garden that you started, right? To do the rest, okay? To make a pop. But what is the basics? If you had some bare minimum stuff, what would you need, right? What's your go-to seasoning? Is it adobo? Is it the garlic seasoning salt? Is it Slap Your Mama? Is it some other type of brand that you love that you put on everything? Get that seasoning, okay? If you're making beans, rice, and you're making these other one-pot meals, you're going to want to have your favorite type of seasonings for that stuff. Stuff like, let's see, your dairy things, think about your things that are super fresh right now. I just said butter a minute ago, your cheeses, your milk. So getting those options in a dried form, right? So you can get your cheese and just preserve it, right? Just put it in the freezer. You can get cheese in a freeze-dried form, right? In number 10 cans from different companies. But get your cheeses. You can pressure can cheese, right? A lot of people pressure can cheese. So it's a melted cheese in a jar, kind of like a Velveeta cheese type situation, because it's melted, it's cooked in the jar. There's all types of different things that you can do. People are waxing cheeses, but get your butter. You can pressure can butter. That's not an approved method, just to put that out there. But butter that way. Ghee, you can make ghee. You can buy ghee. What's the other stuff? I just said milk. So you can buy powdered milk. You can buy powdered heavy cream. You can buy powdered buttermilk. I have all the different milks and heavy creams in a powdered form. Super easy to buy. I buy them right on Amazon. And I absolutely love them, so that you can continue to have those basics when you're making and cooking and doing your meals. You might not have no fresh milk from the store, and maybe you don't have a baby goat in the back, or you don't have a cow that I can milk, right? So how do you continue to get these things into your preps so that you can continue to cook with these things that you're used to, right? I like to cook with heavy cream with a lot of my soups, right? So you want to make sure you have that stuff. Stocks, that brings me to different stocks, right? You can pressure can your own stocks, you can make your own stock, but buying stock and having that stock is a tip for people that are prepping anyway, especially if you're prepping off grid or in any situation where you're trying to reserve water. You can cook in stock instead of using water to cook in. Okay, so there's a lot of reasons why these specific foods are important, because they're versatile. They're versatile in making a lot of different meals and assisting you in making your meals. Okay. I said that. Okay, let's get down to beverages and things like that. Super important, right? A large part of this society drinks either coffee or tea. A large portion of people drink tea and or coffee. You've got to get those caffeinated, those things that your body is used to, you got to get. Otherwise, what you're going to do is you're either prepping it because it is part of your life every day, right? And you want to continue having that pleasure, or you're going to, it's kind of like the Pepsi the other day example I made in the other video the other day, was it's something that you have already made the decision that it's something you're not going to prep long term, meaning you know that you're going to give it up. If things go left, things go really, really bad, you can't get things on the shelf, it's one of those items that you're just going to say, I'm not going to drink it anymore. Okay. What I would say is with Pepsi though, we've done that several times, so we know that we can give it up. I'm not sure that I could give up coffee. That would be pretty rough. Okay. So now's the time. You're running out of time to get these items on your list, and coffee's no different, tea's no different. Liquor, smokes, I know I'm a Christian, right? But I'm just telling you, those things that you drink or use or whatever, you need to get those things now. Now is the time to stock up these things, or you're going to be telling yourself, you're telling yourself that that stuff's not important and it's not going to be prepped. Okay. And you're going to have to adapt to not having it. Okay. Water. This is a big one. So water is so important to me. And what is very, very scary is for folks. Now, not so scary for me. Well, we prepare, but I'm also in a heavily raining state. Okay. But regardless, if you're in a raining state, you have a big problem when this goes left. Again, we're on a slow burn, but when it goes, we get too close to that edge and we start falling off the edge of the cliff. Everything's going to be bought. Everything under the sun is going to be bought and panic bought, and water is going to be it. And you are going to have folks that are going to freak out. And it's not going to be like COVID where, oh, maybe I couldn't find water for a couple weeks and I just could drink, I still had the tap and I still had this and I still had that. You have no idea what circumstances are going to be circling around what happens. You cannot just say, well, when the water is not available, I drink water, bottled water every single day. And when that happens, oh, well, I'll just start drinking the tap. Well, what happens if something at the same time happens to the tap water? What happens if grid down happens? What happens if that is attacked and we now don't have tap water? And you just were reliant on, well, I'm just, if I can't get it from the store, I'll just do tap. Okay. Or people that just say, well, I'll just do tap and I'm not going to prep the water. Okay. Or I live next to a river. I'm not going to prep water because I'll just go down there and get the water. Like, you have to be realistic. And I think that realistic is that every American family, forget American family, every family on this planet needs to have water in their home. Okay. A nuke goes off. You're not getting water outside. You're going to be depending on whatever water you have stored in your garage, in your house, in sheds. That is the water that you're going to be depending on. Grid down, you're depending on the whatever water that you have stocked up to flush toilets, to take showers, to cook food, to drink, to live. Okay. Your body literally starts to shut down after 24 hours of no water. And for those of you out there, do you know, every single time I say that, I have somebody come at me sideways, talk on, you don't start dying, it's not doing anything to your body. And I haven't drank water for 2-3 days and I was just fine. No, baby, you were drinking water. You were just drinking water in other ways. You were drinking other products that, guess what, have water in them. Okay. Other liquids. Okay. So it's beyond that. You will shut down. Your body will say no, and your organs will shut down if you do not have water in your body. That's a fact. And if you don't want to believe that, Well, then, baby, you're going to be part of the dying time, and we're just going to have to take that stat, write it down. You were part of that group of people that just died because you wanted to argue and not learn and open your mind and learn what could truly save your life. Okay, and water is that. So if you do not have water, you need to get water in your home. And when you tell me, oh, I've got 4 cases of water in my home, I'm good to go. You're not good to go with 4 cases of water in your home. Okay. And I'm saying that out of love, because even if it's just you, 4 cases is not enough water. Okay. But you probably have some sort of family. Okay. Or you have people who might need your help and plan to come home, children come home, or whatever the case is. Okay. So please, please hear me when I say concentrate and make sure that you are making a priority to get water in your home, in other containers. Okay. Please, please, and please. All right. And for folks that are like, I don't have money to buy these fancy water things, that's fine. But every time you drink that thing of soda, that two and a half liter or 2 liter thing of soda, every time you drink a juice container, every time you drink your bottled water or your gallon of water that you just finished off, whatever, fill it with some water. Okay. And keep it and hold it. Okay. You've got to be smart. It rains, put some buckets out. It rains here. I have buckets out for different things. They fill up all the time. Okay. Easy. I don't even need a fancy, in states that rains like that, you don't even need anything fancy to catch the rain here. Okay. But a lot of states are not like that. You still have to make water safe to drink, right? That water can still be contaminated, something fall in it, something get in it. So you still have to know how to make water safe to drink. But you've got to think that through and not be so naive to just be like, well, I just got a river right there. And that's just how I survive, and you've never even walked a day in your life, let alone walk miles and miles to a river with some sort of container to get the water, then walk back with the water. Are you like, you've got to be realistic. Okay. And then some other things I have in here, pet foods. So many families have pets. And this is a scary thought, because we're about to go into scary, scary times where you are going to have families that are dying off, that do not have food, that are going to starve, let alone food for their pets. And you're going to have families that are going to be just letting their pets go because they're hoping that their pets will go somewhere where they can get some food and survive. Or they're just going to keep them and those pets are going to die, right? Because they don't have the heart to let them go, to try to, so you're going to have feral animals running all around. You're going to have folks that are sad that they can't feed their pets. They're out of pet food. They did not prep. You have preppers who prep food for themselves, but don't think about their animals. Okay. So you've got to be prepping food. You've got to think about your backups. How do I make food for this animal that I have? How can I make food and make sure that it's nutritious enough that I'm not going to hurt them or harm them or feed them something that they're not supposed to eat? Okay. So right now, while you have time, look up those recipes, practice making those foods for your animals and prepping, right? It's just like you getting an extra can of some cat food, okay? Or getting an extra can of some dog food and putting it up in the closet, okay? You've got to think about that. Think about the ration plan for those animals. Whatever you're feeding them now, what does it look like when you cut back from that? Maybe asking your vet now, what happens when I have to cut back my dog's food? Whatever, okay? Some other stuff is hygiene and cleaners, right? Get your laundry soaps, your body soaps. Think about every day what you have to do to get ready, right? Extra toothbrush, toothpaste, deodorants, body washes, any kind of hair stuff, anything, your Q-tips, all those basic things that you use every day to get ready, to stay clean, to smell okay, right? Those are the things. Again, I said these are things to get in bulk, but if you can only afford, hey, I'm just gonna get these things one by one, that's fine. Make you a list, right? And get toothpaste, toothbrush, and then just get one extra of those things here and there while you can, okay? Put in a priority of which one's more important. Is toothpaste more important than deodorant? Which one's more important? And get that one first and just get one extra, whatever you got to do. And then the last thing I think I have on here is meds. Think about over the counter. Think about everyday aches and pains first, right? basic. I got a headache. What would I take? I have basic back pain, inflammation, basic things that ailments, right? Um, Basic things for if I got a toothache, I got an earache, I had something wrong with my eye. All those basic everyday over the counter medicines, get those things first. You know, get something for your heartburn, get something for upset stomach, get your cold medicines, get those different things that my phone's ringing. Get those different things med wise that are your everyday ailment type things to make you feel good, and then venture out from there as far as the other things you need. That's very basic, right? I'm not talking about all the vitamins. I'm not talking about holistic stuff. I'm just talking about your basic over the counter for your everyday ailments. There's nothing worse than an earache or a toothache and you have nothing for it. You have a toothache and you don't have one little dropper of some stuff that to put on it, right? You've got to have that, or it is a bad day. You will be miserable, right? And then venture out from there, right? Get your ice packs, your cold packs, your ailments, your Tiger Balm ointments, your different things, right? That you guys have used as a family in the last year, let's say, or the last 5 years for that matter. But get those everyday things. For folks that are like, well, I don't take over the counter, but get you a bottle and just have it, okay? Because if you don't have that stuff and then all of a sudden you're in so much pain and you're like, I know I don't normally take this, but I wish I had it right now, that's a bad place to be, okay? And so now you're trying to find somebody like, hey, do you have some over the counter stuff? Just get your basic things. And if you're not huge on pills or you're not huge on stuff or you don't have a lot of money, just one bottle at a time, and go to the cheap places. And the generic meds is just the same. Walmart has little tiny bottles of meds for very cheap, like under $2. Dollar Tree has a ton of meds. You can get a box. Yes, maybe it's only a box that has 10 or 20 of the said medicine in it, but you've got that then, and then move on to the next stuff. So you can get a lot of stuff for even $20 at Dollar Tree or a dollar store like that. $20 will get you a variety of things to cover down, and then you can venture out and get maybe some more expensive stuff, or hey, I want some really Gucci migraine medicine, or I want some really Gucci, back meds or whatever, right? But if money's an issue, don't sleep on that stuff. That stuff works, okay? Benadryl, just your basic stuff, okay? I hope this helped. Let me just look at my notes. If you've been doing this for a while and you're like, Tasha, so this video didn't help me at all, you got all this stuff, I just wrote some more things that you can be working on, because time is money, okay? We are running out of time. Kids clothes, thinking about the next sizes up, even extras. Maybe it's not sizes up, but maybe it's just getting that extra package of socks, that extra package of underwear, right? Just to have it so that when the day comes and you need that extra pack, you've already purchased it, you already have it in a closet somewhere. Extra fortification, those last minute fortification things to make your home stronger, so that when things go left, you're not having to worry so much of being a soft target and being the first house that people are like, I want to take from them. That's gonna be easy. Extra things like fuels for cooking, fuels for heating, extra wood for your wood stove, stocking up on that. Just all the different things. Gas still, if you still have some containers, or you can still afford some more containers to get more gas, please get that. That's going to continue to get worse. Continue to get your grid down items, right? Your lanterns, your flashlights, your batteries, your different things that you like to have for grid down. Your bigger purchases, right? Your bigger Berkey or other water filtering systems, your bigger items like your solar generators, whatever it is. Your water containers, if there's bigger water containers that you're trying to invest in, right? 30 gallon, 55 gallon, bigger gallons, right? Containers, get those. Tools, right? Garden tools, other tools. And think about manual. Yes, is it nice to have something that just has a plug-in battery or has some sort of gas or whatever? Is it nice to have those plug-in type things? Yes. But on this channel, we always want to talk about preparing for grid down. And so when it comes to tools, garden tools, work tools, tools for working on things, cars, wrenches, things like that, you want manual tools as well. Don't forget that, because what's going to be bad is you're trying to do a project and there's grid down and you have all this stuff that plugs in, okay? And any kind of project items, any projects that you have on the horizon, if you're able to squeeze in getting that stuff now, like wood is through the roof, getting that wood now, inflation is not going anywhere. So that's just going to continue to get worse. And you're going to get to a point where you just won't be able to get it. And that project will just have to wait till who knows when, right? Could be years now before you get that project done, because you just got priced out of it because you just can't afford it. You're going to make a decision that what price is too much, right? So if you can get those things, get those project items, if there's things you've been putting off trying to get fixed in your house and take care of in different projects, get those little things done now, because we are going to be in a time where we're not able to get things. And like I said, when that panic buying starts, it's everything. It's going to be everything. There's going to be a run on everything. Okay. If you think you're going to be able to still just go on Amazon and just order away, like, oh, I can't find it in the store, but I'll just find it on Amazon, you're going to be hurting, because it's going to be a run. People are going to panic, and anything that they still need, they're going to be trying to get their hands on. Okay. So hopefully this was helpful. I just want to survive. That's what we plan here. My family surviving no matter what happens, and getting a grip on these staples and getting this stuff in your pantries and in your homes will truly, truly matter. And it doesn't matter if you can do it in bulk, like I'm telling you to do on this video, or if you have to do it onesie, twosies at a time. You do what you can afford and what you can handle. Okay. So I will see you guys tomorrow. I hope you guys have a awesome beginning of the week, getting things done. I just got a new planner, so I'm getting ready to start putting, filling it up and getting it going, as far as getting more of a set schedule with stuff. So I will see you guys tomorrow in the next video. Take care. Bye.